Hey guys, Josie here with Share Your Knowledge Sunday, and I just want to talk to you guys for a little bit today about working with the spirits of the plants that we use in our magic. And so one way that we can do this is to cultivate a relationship with them, just like we do with any spirit that we're working with, be it ancestor veneration, entities, deities, etc. So one thing that I like to do is I like to go forage, and I would highly recommend that any witch go forage in her area or his area for some indigenous plants because they hold such power. It's always great to import things that have correspondences with things, but you can also use your imagination and get creative and use the plants in your area. So one thing that I do when I go foraging is I make sure that I maintain the balance of give and take with the plants by asking permission first, thanking them afterwards, and offering them some kind of an offering, right? I like to use water. Living in Texas, it's super hot here all of the time, and our plants are pretty much always dying of thirst. So what I like to do is just bring a little bit of water and give that to them. Of course, responsibly. I'm not going to pour water on a plant in the hottest part of the day so it sizzles in the Texas heat, but within reason, of course, I'm going to try to provide some kind of nourishment to that plant. Excuse me. And so in doing so, you start to cultivate a relationship with that plant and the spirit of that plant. Another thing you can do is grow your own. In years past, I've always just grown my own inside pots. I bought them at, the nursery or Home Depot or whatever, and I would grow them from small little plants to bigger plants in containers, and then I eventually got into planting in the ground once we bought our house a few years back. But last year I started planting from seeds, and what I've found is that it really helps you cultivate a deeper relationship with the plant when you start it from a seedling. So last year when I planted my seeds, I just did it into the ground, and I kind of had to wait a little late in the season to do so because I had to wait till after the last frost. So some of my plants never made it all the way full to fruition before us having our first freeze in November. So my pumpkins are a prime example. They take a long time to grow, and they started on the vine, and I started to see fruits, but I never got one full grown because we had a nasty freeze in November that decimated everything that was in the ground. So that was a major bummer. So this year I wanted to kind of get an edge up, and I wanted to grow inside my house. So I set up a little table in my witch room, and I'm going to share it with you guys. And I'm pretty excited because I planted these a week ago on Monday, and they're already sprouting. Almost everything is sprouting. So let me kind of show y'all what I'm working with here. Sorry for the weird camera angles. So over here I have, I'm growing nasturtium and mugwort in the first row. Neither one of those have come out yet, but I think that they just take a little longer to germinate. The next row, the first four, you can see popping up there, that's marigolds. Now, so with the nasturtium and the marigolds, the reason that I'm growing them, not only are they great and can be used in magical purposes, but they're also great for companion planting if you want to do vegetable gardens. These plants will help deter cucumber beetles. And cucumber beetles don't just eat cucumbers, they eat squash. They eat anything in that family. And what they will do is not only will they decimate your plant by eating it, they also carry a bacteria inside their stomach. And this happened last year to my squash plant. I had no idea that they were such a problem. And they were just munching on my plants, and they're kind of cute. They're green. They've got black polka dots on them. I didn't know they were so problematic, but they ended up giving my plants squash wilt, which caused them to basically wilt from the inside out. So I'm going to be planting marigolds and nasturtiums on the outside of the garden where I have those in the same bed, but in the outside of where I have my cucumbers and stuff like that. Of course, mugwort seeds. I got these awesome mugwort seeds from Pisces Moonflower 13, who is my partner for the Witch Swap package exchange I recently did. I'm growing some winter squash, some summer squash, some spinach. Now, almost all of these have popped up, as you can see. The spinach hasn't popped up yet. I have tried to grow spinach from seeds for a couple of years now and haven't had a whole lot of success. So I don't know if they're just hard to grow or maybe they just take a while. But like I said, planting them in here and indoors where I can have them in a controlled environment, I feel like I might have better success. But you can see my cucumbers are just already popping up. I've got so many different kinds of cucumbers. My winter squash and summer squash hasn't come up yet. But you know what? It's not even been a week yet, so I'm not worried about that. Then I have two different kinds of green beans. I have pole beans that I'll grow on a trellis, and then I've got bush beans that I'll grow on in the ground. The reason why with plants like beans, if you plan to eat your food, which I do, you want to have quite a bit of them because you know you need quite a few green beans to make a serving, and I want to make it worth it. So I've got a few of those growing. Over here I've got my zucchinis. I've got two different zucchini varieties growing, and then I've also got some of my okra, some more pole green beans. The okra is really popping up. You can see it right there. And then down here I've got some more cucumbers. I've got like 3 different kinds of cucumbers. I want to do a lot of pickling and stuff like that, and the cucumbers are just really healthy for you. So I plan to do a lot of preserving this year, so I'm kind of going really big with my garden. And then I've got some other pumpkins. I've got these little Jackby little pumpkins, which those are adorable. I love those. And if you've been following me for a while, you know that I did on New Year's Eve, I did a prosperity working with these little kinds of pumpkins. I did them, and I had a huge altar. I did one even from a community for my followers and stuff on Instagram. But I thought this year, you know, I do it every year, but this year, what if I grew my own? And then I've got bigger pumpkins that I can use. This is jack-o'-lantern, but you can also use it for baking. So those are my little indoor growing seedlings. And then another thing I wanted to show you guys is I was also gifted some woodruff, which is also master of the wood seeds. And so I wanted to start those too. Here's another way that you can start seedlings. So I use these I have a lot of seeds. I have rue and anise and things like that I use in spell work, the seeds themselves. But also, when they're dried out like that, if you want to, you know, germinate them, it can be a little bit of a process. These happen really fast, so I'm going to show you these because the rue is still not up and going yet. But you just take a paper towel and you take a Ziploc bag and you dampen the paper towel. And you put the seeds inside, and when you put the seeds inside, you fold it up. You place it into the Ziploc bag, and you put it inside the refrigerator, but you don't close the bag all the way because you don't want to, you know, it'll get moldy and stuff. Sorry, probably should have done this before. There we go. Just bear with me here. Okay, so you can see the little seeds in there. They will start sprouting. And these guys are already kind of starting to do some stuff, but the other ones that I have, the rue, haven't started yet. But so I'll keep them like this for about 10 days. 10 days to 2 weeks. And then I'll go ahead and take them out and I'll put them in room temperature. The coldness and then the shift to the room temperature kind of tricks the seeds into thinking that they were in the refrigerator, it was winter, and once you've taken them out, that it's spring and it's okay to sprout now. And that can motivate them to go ahead and to spring up. And I might go back and do some of those with my nasturtiums and my mugwort if it doesn't look like these are going to pop up. But anyways, I just wanted to share with you guys about working with, you know, the different plants, working with the spirit of them, how to cultivate that, and kind of show you all some of the things that I've been working on. As we get into spring, like a lot of the stuff that I'm going to focus on when I talk about magic will be related to things that I grow in my garden because I'm a green witch, I'm a kitchen witch, and I'm a hedge witch. And growing my own food is a way that I can implement witchcraft into the way that I'm eating. It's another way that I can have my life be magical in all aspects. Like I want to live a magical life, like Cindy Brandon says in her book. And to do so, you know, to me, what that means is to incorporate it into every single aspect that I can, and food being one of those. So I have a little statue here too, and I kind of equate her to Persephone, and I have her here. I had some candles here too, some little tea lights. I don't keep them going the whole time, but you know, I do meditate and pray over these, and I do, you know, infuse them with the intent of, you know, bringing, you know, health and prosperity and happiness and serenity into my home and into my life. And also that they, you know, do well, that they grow well. So anyways, just a little video, a little bit different from some of the other stuff we've done. Still magical in context, but a little bit more geared toward the green witches out there. If you have any questions about growing things or anything like that, feel free to DM me. I'm always available. And you guys have a happy Sunday, and I'll see you in a couple weeks. And as always, please drop in the comments your questions or suggestions. Any ideas for companion planning that you know about with planning other things that for magical purposes. Of course, this is just my vegetation. I've got an herb garden out the wazoo too. And the mugwort will actually, I won't put the mugwort in the garden. The mugwort will have its own area in my herb garden. So just wanted to kind of show y'all what I'm working on. Anyways, happy Sunday, everyone, and I will see y'all soon.